Thanks for joining us for another Kickstarter conniption. Today we're looking at Perpetuity, Grave Descent from Gametime Again.
And as always, we want to make sure that you're aware that our Kickstarter conniption videos are sponsored in part by our own Kickstarter backers, as well as by the creators of this game. Hey gang, thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
I'm Sara Meadows. Today we're looking at Perpetuity, Grave Descent. This is from designer Alan Clint from Gametime Again.
This is a 1 to 5 player space exploration worker placement game that takes about an hour to 2 hours to play. We were given this prototype copy to check out. Now we're not going to actually share any opinions or critique on the game. We just want to give you a feel for what it looks like and how it's played. So let's jump in.
To set up the game, place the Perpetuity starboard in the center of the table with the planets, and then attach the colonies, the asteroid fields, and the nebula boards, and then reveal a force card.
Add the shield and space station, then populate all of the matching hexes and place out the damage tiles on the space station face down.
Reveal the ship upgrade tiles and the research cards.
Give each player their board, workers, and starting resources, and then you're ready to begin.
On your turn, place one worker either in a shuttle ready to leave at the end of the round, or on a worker space and then take that action, like the recruitment tile that allows you to hire an additional level 1 worker.
Once everyone has placed their workers, the shuttles leave and are unloaded in order. Workers may only go to a space if they are the same or higher level than the other workers that might be present.
Once the shuttle workers have taken their action, all the workers are picked back up, or they may optionally work overtime and stay out on the board, but they must be fed. Then they will collect a resource from the location they were in, so if they're in the nebula field, they will gain a fuel.
The planets will then rotate around the star, and damage will increase around the board.
Dice are rolled and the planet protectors are removed.
If the counter is full, more damage is dealt to the star, and the surrounding hex locations become damaged.
Players may visit hexes that are damaged, but must roll dice to see if they avoid it. Otherwise, they can spend their turn to repair the damage for victory points.
Players can also build ships and then outposts to visit the alien planets. They must successfully negotiate with the different types of aliens to rescue them and gain valuable victory points.
Play continues until the space station or the planets have been destroyed, or until all the aliens have been rescued, and then the player with the most points wins.
So your space station has just arrived outside the orbit of the star Perpetuity. Alien planets circle it in orbit, and you and your team, well, you can play as a team or against one another actually, will be going out to harvest resources in order to basically grow your team, build out your own personal ship collection, and ultimately prove that you are the best explorer here in the Perpetuity galaxy.
Yes, while you're there, the aliens have set up some satellites and things on their planets that they are located on, and you must try and help rescue them. The star is quickly becoming damaged, and it is damaging the areas around it, the nebula, the asteroid field. So you are quickly trying to build some ships that you can send out to have some outposts set up to try and negotiate with these aliens and try and be on their side to help rescue them, get them off of the alien planets.
So you're going to start the game off with just a couple of workers in your possession, although you can add more to your crew over the course of the game, as well as you can upgrade those to 3 different sized workers that will each perform better as they try to gain resources or as they try to improve their chances. In the game, you will be rolling dice in some occasions for the chance to gain big rewards, and the larger your worker is, the better chance you stand of a successful die roll on those. Over the course of the game, you will be visiting those aliens as well, and there's some interesting stuff going on there because you'll be doing a little bit of, it's not bag building, but you'll be randomly drawing out an alien, finding out what type of resource he specifically desires to be able to negotiate with him, and so you're going to need to kind of have your inventory pre-prepped with the resources you've gathered for all these planets in order to be able to negotiate successfully and get them on your team and score the big victory points that they bring at the end of the game.
Yes, before you even have the resources, though, that Will's talking about that you need to negotiate with the aliens, you're going to have to spend some time at the beginning of the game going out and sending your workers out to those 3 other areas that you need a shuttle to get to. So you always can take actions in the space station itself, and there's no extra requirements for those besides just the worker requirements. You have to have a worker that is the same level or higher level than the one that are already there on that space. But otherwise, there are only 4 slots for the shuttle for each of those 3 main locations on the outside of the starboard. And so those get resolved in order clockwise around the board. So you can kind of try and guess or plan out where other players are going to if you're playing competitively, or if you're playing cooperatively, you can work together to gain the resources that you need.
So you'll be collecting those, adding those to your pot, and then you'll ultimately be needing to gain a ship in order to be able to visit those planets out on the board. The board features some pretty neat components. That central sphere itself is going to be rotating. You've got the planet discs on top of it, and each of those feature a little marker token that as the planet gets destroyed, those markers get removed and added to your board.
Those cards, the force cards that we put out at the beginning of the game, those alien satellites each have to do with some physical property. So one of them controls gravity, so that when it becomes destroyed, it goes on that force card for that area that it's adjacent to, and that those cards or hexes in that area, then there are things that happen to them. So you may have to pay an extra resource to gain something, or you may not get as many of the resources you need. So you'll just have to be careful about the physical properties that happen based on those alien satellites.
Now, at the end of the game, you're going to be scoring victory points based on a number of different things. It's almost a little bit point salad. Aliens are going to bring in a lot of points.
Yeah, if you can get the zealot aliens that are really expensive to try and negotiate with, those are worth 15 points in a game. It's 5 points for repairing those damaged hexes on the board. So there are ways to, like the repairs, if you don't repair things, they will explode, and then the things next to them become damaged. So it can become very dire if you get towards later in the game and part of your food supply resources have been wiped out.
Keep that food vessel going strong.
Wiped out. So it really hinders later in the game if you can't keep on top of it. So even though it's a competitive game, it does try and reward you for doing things that help everybody else, like the damage. And obviously in the competitive mode, everyone's going to try and work together to complete those things.
Yeah, so if you enjoy a little bit more complex worker placement types of games, if you enjoy that leveling up ladder tree type of technology where you've got to grow this guy to this level to be able to do this effect, to be able to do that kind of thing, or if the art and components look interesting to you, then definitely check out Perpetuity on Kickstarter now. And then as always, thanks so much for liking, following along, and subscribing to our videos here at Tantrum House.